I can tell you right now, my cold emails are near enough perfect when it comes to deliverability. Our bounce rate is far less than 1%, and we never, I literally mean never, end up in the spam inbox, okay? And there are 5 reasons why. Before we get into that, let's just take a moment to think about what most people do, what you might do, and what 99% of people do, right? They get a list. Maybe they use D7 Lead Finder to find a list of emails. Maybe they pay someone from Bangladesh to send them a list of emails and lead information. They get that list, they put it into Lemlist or they put it into Instantly, and they click start sending, right? And when you're doing that, of course, all of your inbox reputations, like, it's going to be ruined. Of course, your ABO is going to be incredibly low. Of course, your media seen rates, so how many people see your message, it's going to be minuscule. Of course, your bounce rate is going to be 30, 40, 50% when you're doing it in this horrible way. Okay, so the first thing before anything else we need to get right is the lead sourcing. And that's the first thing, is lead sourcing. So what we do is we get a list from a vendor, and now this is just a pretty regular guy, Bangladeshi email vendor, but pretty regular. And so what we do here is, first of all, we have 2 softwares that we use. We use Neverbounce and Million Verifier. And these softwares basically just use them to clean emails and make sure that the emails are good to be sent to. So we clean them on Million Verifier, and we clean them on Neverbounce. And then we put those 2 lists together, and we only keep the leads that are good on both Million Verifier and on Neverbounce. So they're already double checked by both these softwares. Then, only for those leads that are actually good, what we do is we have a virtual assistant open every single website of all the leads. Doesn't matter if it's 1K, 2K, 5K, 10K leads. Maybe sometimes we use more than one virtual assistant. We have a virtual assistant that goes through every single website, okay? And they make sure that first of all, the website's active. Because of course, if it says domain for sale, or if it says this website is unavailable, then they're probably not going to be a good person to send to in the first place, or the email is just going to bounce. So we delete all of those, but then also we make sure that they're good fits. We make sure that they're actually in our niche. Because these kind of dodgy vendors, a lot of the time send you just completely fake and random leads. So we make sure it's a real website and they're actually good fits. And just immediately, I can tell you right now, just on average, only around 30 to 50% of leads that we get sent from our vendors, we actually end up sending emails to. Because we do this whole Million Verify thing, and I can tell you a good example is that around a week ago, we went through this entire process of cleaning leads, and we started with 1.7K leads, 1,700. And then just through Million Verify and Neverbounce, that went from 1.7K to 1.2K. So 500 of those leads were not good emails to be sent to. Just think about that. And think about, you're not doing this. So you've just sent 500 emails to people, or sorry, to emails that could potentially ruin your reputation in terms of your IP and in terms of your domain, right? So we double clean them, we open all of them. And so from those 1.7K, around 600 to 800 were actually good that we sent to. Just keep that in mind, right? It's, if you're just blindly sending emails, of course you're gonna be fucked. You're failing at the first hurdle, okay? So first things first is proper lead sourcing. And then step 2, so most people fuck up at this first hurdle, and then basically everybody fucks up at the second hurdle. So after lead sourcing, step 2 is proper account infrastructure. So that sounds fancy, but really it's not, right? Because what you're probably doing is maybe you're buying a few domains, maybe you're warming them up on Instantly, that's good. And then you kind of click send on Instantly, and you just let Instantly go out, right? We don't do that. We have real solid infrastructure for all of our accounts, okay? So what we have is we buy 10 domains, and each of those domains will have 2 accounts. So maybe it'll be, let's just say that we're using random names, and let's say that my company is called Pringles. Well, let's say my company is called Pringles Marketing. I'll have a domain that's called Pringles Ads. I'll have a domain that's called The Pringles Ads. I'll have another domain that's called Pringles Media. So we buy 10 domains that with similar names, and then in each of those domains we'll have 2 accounts. So we'll have Matt at Pringles Media, then we'll have Celine at Pringles Media, and then we'll have Joseph at Pringles Ads. We'll have whatever, you understand what I mean, right? But we have 2 accounts per domain and 10 domains. So in total, we have 20 emails that we're sending from. And the reason we do this is because if one domain gets fucked up, then we only lose 2 accounts. If you're doing it the normal way, where you make one domain and then you have 10 accounts under that domain, if that domain gets fucked up, all 10 of those accounts are completely finished and you have to start again, right? But we kind of decentralized, so that if one account gets fucked up, then it's completely fine and it's not attached to any of the other accounts. So we set it up in that way. We have this proper infrastructure of 20 cold accounts, and we have one warm account, and all the emails that get sent to the cold accounts for any reason, they immediately get forwarded to the main account, to the warm account. So that's how we structure it. We do proper warm up. Okay, so first of all, we do at least 2 to 3 weeks of just regular warm up on Instantly, and then from there we start sending emails at a lower volume, and then we wait a week. And then if it's all good, we raise that a bit more. And if that's all good for another week, then we get to the actual max volume. And so we were very, very cautious and very, very careful in how we set up these emails. And that brings me to the next thing, number 3, which is manual sending. And so this is, once again, completely backwards to what the majority of people do. Most people, they just chuck it in an list, chuck it in instantly, and just let it do its thing. All of our emails are sent manually, okay? So what that means is that every single email that's ever been sent, of course, besides the instantly warm-ups, besides that, every single email that we've sent as a cold email, as a follow-up, as a warm reply, it's been done on Gmail. Right? It's been done on Gmail, clicking the inbox button, like copy pasting in the subject, copy pasting in the body copy pasting in the email, and clicking send manually. It's all been done manually. And so we have VAs that hop on all the accounts and send these emails manually. And just think about that. That's going to be so amazing for deliverability. It's not just being washed out automatically instantly by some dodgy software. It's all been sent manually. That plus proper resourcing, so we're sending to good emails, plus proper account management, so that if one account gets fucked up, the rest is still fine, and sending manually. It's kind of this perfect storm to having great email deliverability. All this is all nice, you know, or doing it properly, doing all that good stuff is nice, but it can crumble because of IPs. If you're doing all of this from the same IP address, it's going to be fucked, right? So what we have, first of all, is we have a dedicated IP that we've bought, and this dedicated IP, we only ever access the warm account if we're on this IP. And then remember, we have 20 accounts. So for the first 10, we have another IP that we only use to go on these accounts. And for the second 10, we have an IP that we only use to go on these 10 accounts. And every single morning, before we go on the accounts, we check the IP. We run it through 2 softwares. Not softwares, but websites. We run the IPs to, first of all, tell us intelligence, which will basically be able to see, is our IP endangered? Is it at risk of spam? And then also, we use something called the MX Toolbox. So that's just a website you can look up, and you can paste in your IP, and you can see if you're on any blacklists. So before anything else, make sure we're not on any spam lists. There's no concerns, there's no worries, and we're not on any blacklists. So if you're doing all of that, that's how we get real, good, amazing deliverability. That's why our bounce rate, like I said, is below 1%. That's why, you know, we're doing all this stuff, but it's worth it. Because your email deliverability is probably terrible, and definitely terrible in comparison to ours, right? I mean, to do my own one here. But this is the biggest bottleneck when it comes to emails, is proper email deliverability. And then the 5th thing, this is honestly the most important thing, and this is the only reason why my deliverability is so good, why my ABR is so high, and why this works for me. If I didn't have this 5th thing, none of the 4 things would matter, okay? And this is very trite, very obvious, but it's what you actually really need, especially with cold emails, and it's patience. Do you think if I had shiny object syndrome and I couldn't do the same thing for more than a few days without seeing results, and I was super impatient, I would get any of this? Of course not, right? Waiting a few weeks for the account to warm up, being able to be calm under pressure when an account gets banned, being able to, like for example, for basically the first time ever, all of my accounts at the same time got onto a blacklist, and I started freaking out. I started panicking. I was like, oh my god, my entire email system is just fucked. What's happened? And I was so stressed. I happened at the gym because my VA was sending, which was about to start doing his sending for the day, sending out the new code emails, and he messaged me and he said, oh my god, Matt, all the accounts are on the blacklist. What do I do? And I was like, fuck, don't do anything. I literally ran home. So it's literally a 10-minute run. I ran home as fast as I could, and I checked it, and he was right. All the accounts were on a blacklist, but they weren't actually. It was just MX Toolbox making a bit of a mistake, and they were on a blacklist of a software called Sumio Spam. So I messaged Sumio Spam. I was like, oh my god, what can I do to get this off a blacklist? Please. And they replied, and they were like, bro, you're not actually on a blacklist. MX Toolbox makes these mistakes all the time. You're actually completely fine. Right? So in reality, I was fine, right? But that is not a good thing, right? We don't want to be freaking out. We don't want to be doing anything like that. We want to be kind of keeping patient, staying relaxed. This is a long-term plan. This is how you're going to be booking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sales calls per day for the next 2 years, if you can do this properly. So you need those 4 things to have proper deliverability, but you also, in every situation, unlike what I do when I start freaking out, you need patience, right? You need to be able to relax and come at it a bit more slowly. So if you are a more early stage agency owner and you want help with cold emails, with cold calling, with booking more appointments, and with closing more clients, first link in the description is for you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.